Hi, I am Jacquelyn Pileckas, and I am playing Ruth Bader Ginsburg. So where to start with the notorious RBG? But I would say that in this opera, it's more like Zooey Deschanel playing Jessica Day, playing Ruth Bader Ginsburg in it.
And I'm a mezzo-soprano. I currently live in Orlando, Florida, but I'm from Virginia originally. So it's especially exciting to get to sing the role of Ruth because when I think a lot of the initial fanfare with the notorious RBG was going on, I was living in Virginia at the time, and there was just a lot of positive sentiment heading that way. So it's kind of cool to get to step into those shoes.
So I'm used to doing pants roles. I think one of my favorite previous roles is Carabino in Le Notte di Figaro because he's super, super goofy and silly and just in love with everybody. I've also recently gotten to sing in Dido and Aeneas over the summer. I was Dido, that was my first opera role ever, and then this summer I got to be Second Witch, so it's good to be bad, as they say. Again, I just like playing silly characters. So the first time I sang with Central Florida Vocal Arts and Opera del Sol was when I moved to Orlando in 2019. I was in their production of The Mikado. I was covering Catashaw, but I've also been in The Secret Garden, which during my first show, I also met my partner, Jacob, because he was in the cast of The Mikado. My first memory, I think he was eating a cucumber, and I thought he was kind of strange, but obviously it all worked out. I think one of my favorite things is that it's just very silly. There's a lot of opportunity for comedy, which is one of my favorite things to do in opera. Additionally, I think it's really timely. We are in an election year, and I think it can be really easy to feel overwhelmed as an individual when we're talking about social change and social causes. So it's really fantastic, I think, for me to get to go out and sing about some of those because it really feels like hopefully this is going to change the conversation in some of those things. So if you're an opera lover, you can definitely expect to hear a lot of familiar tunes. I don't want to spoil it too much, but just keep an ear out for things like Carmen or La Boheme or some Der Rosenkavalier. I think people should come see Scalia Ginsburg because you should support local artists, but also because I think this opera is such a great example of how to talk to people. I think in 2024 and in the past few years, it feels like we've kind of lost sight of how to treat people that we disagree with. And this is such a wonderful opera about friendship across the political aisle. But even in my own life, my best friend, who is literally flying down to see me, we don't see eye to eye on these things. So I see a lot of our relationship in there. And I'm hoping that people can see themselves reflected in this as well. I hope people gain a realization that opera is, as Ruth says, it evolves over time. And it's not just the great classics, it's a living art form. So there's something that could appeal to everybody, whether that's music, whether that's the commentary on current events. But I also just hope you have a good time. It's a fun show. It's 90 minutes. It's silly, unexpectedly poignant in places. And I think you're going to love it. Come see Scalia Ginsburg March 15th, 16th, and 17th at the Dr. Phillips Center. And you can celebrate Ruth Bader Ginsburg's birthday with us.